There are a lot of anime about warriors. Some about revenge, and some are about power. Hell, some are even about screaming for 3 episodes straight while powering up. You know who you are. But every once in a while, you get a story about atonement, about redemption, a story about a man who once bathed in the blood of his enemies and now wanders Japan, trying to make sure he never spills it again. What's up, everybody? This is AJ with Rocker Viking Reviews, and today we are talking about one of the most legendary samurai stories ever created. We're going with Rurouni Kenshin, or as many of us early 2000s kids discovered it, hey Toonami, why is this red-haired dude beating people with a sword that's backwards, man? So grab your Sakabatō, avoid any shady government assassinations, and let's talk about the wandering swordsman himself. Before anime fans knew him, and also before Toonami kids argued about whether Kenshin could beat Samurai Jack, there was the manga. Rurouni Kenshin was created by Nobuhiro Watsuki in 1994, and it ran in the legendary manga magazine Weekly Shonen Jump, which is basically the Hall of Fame for manga, if you know what I mean. We're talking Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, and right in the middle of that legendary lineup was a red-haired pacifist with PTSD and a sword that he refuses to kill with. The story takes place during the early Meiji era, when Japan was rapidly modernizing, which basically was their way of saying, hey samurai, thanks for the centuries of service, but we have guns now, so you're unemployed. And in the middle of that massive societal shift wanders a man known only as Himura Kenshin. Oh, and I want to give a shout out to Shockwave 984. I used a shot from their unboxing video for this segment, so shout out to them and follow their YouTube channel. Before Kenshin was a wandering pacifist, thing is, he was something much, much darker. During the revolution that ended the samurai era, he was known as Hitokiri Battōsai, which translates roughly to the manslayer who draws faster than your life insurance policy. Now, Battōsai was an assassin who helped overthrow the old government, and he was terrifyingly good at it. The man wasn't just skilled. This son of a bitch was mythological. Enemies whispered his name like he was the boogeyman or the John Wick of the revolution. And I never thought I'd compare John Wick to Rurouni Kenshin, but hey, here we are. But when the war ended, Himura disappeared. But years later, he returned not as a killer, but as a wanderer. Pretty much a Rurouni, which literally means a masterless samurai who walks the land. I don't know why the hell I sounded British there for a second, but let's just roll with it. Except, Kenshin has one rule. It's a rule that he refuses to break. That he will never kill again. Which is why he carries one of the most iconic weapons in manga/anime history, the Sakabatō, better known as a reverse blade sword. Meaning the sharp edge faces inward. The blunt side is on the outside. So even when he strikes, he can't cut them down. It's one of the most brilliant metaphors in manga that the weapon of a killer was turned into a tool of a protector. Eventually, Kenshin arrives at a dojo run by Keishi Otomo, who teaches the Kamiya Kashin Ryu, a sword style meant to protect people, which is the exact opposite of what this man used to do. Now, this is where the story becomes something a little bit deeper than just sword fights, because Kenshin slowly builds himself a found family. Along with Keishi Otomo, you've got Yahiko Myojin, a loudmouth kid determined to become a samurai. The kid's got heart, but he's also an arrogant little loudmouth, like I just said. And of course, we got Sanosuke Sakurai, a former rebel fighter whose solution to most problems is punching them really, really hard. And honestly, Sanosuke is one of the most relatable characters ever. Pretty much his strategy is step 1, punch it. Step 2, punch it again. Step 3, if that fails, man, punch it harder. Simple, effective, respectable. But in all seriousness, the past always catches up to you. And it's no exception for Kenshin, because his reputation as the Battōsai begins attracting unwanted guests, enemies, if you catch my drift. And some of them are pure, unadulterated fucking monsters. And we're about to talk about one right now. If you ask longtime fans what the best arc of the series is, most of them will actually point to one story. The Kyoto arc. And the villain behind it, Makoto Shishio. Now, Shishio was actually supposed to replace Kenshin as the government's assassin. But after the revolution ended, they pretty much burned him alive just to erase the evidence, and he survived. Barely. Now, wrapped in bandages like the world's angriest mummy, Shishio plans to overthrow the government and plunge Japan into chaos. And unlike Kenshin, Shishio embraces violence. His brutal philosophy is pretty much this: only the strong survive, and the weak shall die. God damn, I'm actually getting too good at this shit. What the hell? And their final fight is one of the greatest sword battles in anime and manga history. Not just because it was epic, but because it's ideological. It's redemption versus survival of the fittest. It's atonement and redemption versus domination. It pretty much was Kenshin literally fighting the living embodiment of the man that he used to be. In 1996, the anime adaptation arrived for Rurouni Kenshin. And for many of us Western fans, this is how we first discovered the Wandering Swordsman. Especially when it aired on Toonami, which introduced an entire generation to anime. Now, kids watching Dragon Ball Z suddenly saw this red-haired samurai with an X-shaped scar on his face, talking politely and apologizing to people, and absolutely obliterating enemies within 3 seconds. It was like watching Mr. Rogers with a kill count. Now, like I showed you earlier, the Kyoto arc, when it was animated, became legendary. And it was awesome. I loved it. But unfortunately, the anime itself, well, the original anime, drifted into filler territory. And you know that's never good. And the anime itself ended before adapting the final arc of the manga, Trust and Betrayal, which left us fans at the time hanging for years. Now, normally when Hollywood adapts anime, things go horribly wrong. But Japan said, relax. We got this. Beginning in 2012, a series of live-action films based on Kenshin were released. Starting with Rurouni Kenshin, starring Takeru Sato as Kenshin himself. And somehow they completely nailed it. The choreography was insane. The emotional beats land. And Kenshin's speed in combat looks like something that came straight out of the anime. Now, the full film series eventually expanded into 5 movies and adapted the story all the way through to the final arc, which is something the original anime never did. And which is something fans had been waiting decades to see. I mean, look at this. This right here is a scene, actual scene from the Kyoto movie. And it looks damn good. So Warner Brothers Japan knew exactly what the hell they were doing. And let's not forget that in 2023, we were blessed with a complete remake, which is still ongoing. It retells the story of Kenshin, but with new animation. And if you want to watch the Kyoto arc in this animation, oh yeah, I suggest you either get Crunchyroll or get Netflix to watch this. Oh, and also you can also watch the live action movies on Netflix too. Now, at its core, Rurouni Kenshin isn't just about the sword fights. It's about something that's more human. And that is guilt. Thing is, Kenshin knows he can never undo what he did. The people he killed are gone forever. So, the only thing he can do is dedicate the rest of his life to protecting others. It's the idea that redemption isn't a moment. It's a lifetime of choices. And that's what makes Kenshin such a powerful character. Mainly because he's not trying to become a hero. He's trying to become a better man than he used to be. And that, my dear viewers, is why Rurouni Kenshin remains one of the greatest samurai stories ever told. A warrior who once killed without hesitation now refuses to take a life. A legend haunted by his past and trying to build a future where that past never repeats itself. And honestly, if more anime heroes followed Kenshin's example, we'd probably have a lot fewer cities destroyed every season. And the thing is, he's inspired people to become a lot better. Heck, there's even a YouTuber on here who uses Kenshin's name and follows the samurai code in his videos. You know who I'm talking about. But then again, just like Kenshin, that's what makes them unique. That's what makes everybody unique. And until next time, this has been Rocker Viking Reviews. And remember, a true warrior isn't the one who kills the most enemies. It's the ones who know when to put the sword down. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.